You've probably already seen a bunch of fuss about this, but it remains extremely funny. Like, too funny to not cover. So the TikTok ban is impending. It looms. It hovers over all of us. And, well, I mean, all of us. I don't really use TikTok, so I guess it hovers over other people. Soaring to the top of the Apple Store app directory. Yeah, Red Note, or what is it? Xiaohongshu. Incredible things are happening over in China. People are downloading a Chinese social media app. Apparently, it's like Chinese Instagram. I don't know. The only thing I know about it is that I saw this lady. Someone posted this lady. So apparently she's in China. So I don't know, like, if you'd consider that an incentive. High-rise pants. Sold! Really, apparently it's like preppy rich kid Chinese Instagram, you know? Straight to goon. I don't know. I saw it on my feed. Downloading as we speak. She's in good shape, you know? Can't shame me. Anyway, right now, social media, Western social media, I mean, is being flooded with a bunch of, feel-good memes about how Americans are downloading Xiaohongshu and engaging in cultural exchange with Chinese people, which is very funny. You know, I've seen lots of people being cutesy about it. Like, Americans will, like, a black guy will thirst post on Red Note, and Chinese people have never seen a black guy before, so they'll all be like, oh, wow, you're so pretty. What pretty skin or something. And people are like, wow, look, they're learning or whatever. People captioning the videos they're posting there in like English and Chinese. I don't know. It's a whole thing. Not that I expect it to last very long. Or they'll say something very different. Yeah, but right now we're in the feel-good positivity phase. There are so many Zoomers on social media right now who are basically unironically doing the like, President Xi, send the missiles when you are ready. America needs liberation. Please liberate us from our capitalist oppressors. Do you think Musk is going to buy TikTok lol? Well, it really just depends on whether ByteDance is going to be directed to sell it. And so far, that doesn't seem to be the case. There were some rumors that I saw from Business Insider about ByteDance considering selling it to Musk, but ByteDance denied those rumors. So it seems like the app might actually shut down, you know? I'm one of the ones who moved over and it's pretty cool. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Musk did actually want to bring back Vine once. He just says stuff. Anyway, a bunch of people are, I guess like the main thing that I'm pulling from this, more so than anything else, is that there are a lot of young people who are just not at all bought in on why we should fear China. This is a big generational divide thing. You know, the fear of Chinese supremacy or military expansion is a lot more common in older people. But if you're like 30 or under, I really don't think I just don't see China fear-mongering from younger people. You know, it hasn't crossed over in the same way as a bunch of other culture war topics. Like, there are young people, young men usually, who think that trans people are destroying America with degeneracy, or women, or blah, 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 blah. You know, that bullshit. Muslims, black people, whatever. But with regards to China, I don't think so. You know? We just think of good food and where we buy all our stuff. Well, you don't eat Chinese food in America. You eat Chinese American food. And my understanding is that there's a pretty big difference. I mean, why should we fear China? Well, I mean, China is like a fascist, expansionist, you know, colonial capitalist empire that's been threatening for a long time to invade and annex Taiwan, which is probably pretty bad. Fascist? Yeah, 100%. What country isn't? There are lots of countries that aren't as dangerous, potentially, as China. So are twinsy? Yes. Still, the cultural exchange, or at the very least, like a lack of fear, is probably a good thing, you know? What's the old saying? Like, you have more in common with a Chinese worker than you do with an American capitalist. And it's 100% true, you know? You go past the Great Firewall of China over to their apps, and what are they doing? Complaining about their schoolwork, posting cat memes, creating inscrutable Wojaks. I mean, they're in on the same, you know, we're all people, okay? They're in on it. That's probably for the best. Imagine how much they hate their government. Well, you can't post about that in a Chinese app. That would be unwise, I feel. Where's the Chinese? Most of them are in China, is my understanding. Anyway. TikTok, which is available in more than 150 countries, but not China, owned by ByteDance, righty right. Xiaohongshu means little red book in Mandarin. I actually didn't know that. That's very cute. Many call the app Red Note. I don't really care if I'm using a Chinese app at all, said Miss Lee. It's like a place for me to escape reality, making me feel good. I'm here for it. I think it's cool. I've seen a bunch of people saying, like, I trust China more with my data than I do Zuckerberg or Elon Musk. Or, you know, I will print out all of my browser search history every day and leave it at the foot of the Chinese embassy in my city. Things to that effect. It's hard to get any worse. You know, ain't no Xi Jinping ever called me the N-word, as you know, as one might say. Top Xi. Do we have that emote? Have we ever had the GigaChad Xi Jinping emote? Now would be a bad time to add it, because I'm pretty sure that Trump will make it like a federal offense to have that as an emote soon. We need it. We need it while it's legal. Yeah, we probably should. This community is pretty insulated from tankies anyway. I'm not too worried about people misusing it, you know. The USA has really lost the game, haven't they? I wouldn't really say that. Losing, maybe. But you made fun of Hassan for having that emote a few years ago. Well, it's a funny emote. It's just a matter of, like, do you believe it or not? Like, do you think it's funny, or do you think Xi Jinping is like an authoritarian bureaucrat who has allowed capital to expand ruthlessly under his control? I mean, we have the, like, Trump prison photo where he's doing the blue steel face. That's not an endorsement of President Trump, you know, future President Trump, President-elect Trump. Some Hassan chatters do actually glaze the Chinese government. Well, the Chinese government's probably at this exact moment more trustworthy than the American government is about to be, so, you know. I downloaded RedNote and they really like Luigi Mangione over there. Oh, I bet. Like, why wouldn't they, right? South Korean police sieging presidential palace. One thing at a time. One thing at a goddamn time. Luigi emote win. We can't have a Luigi emote because that would imply that I endorse his behavior, and I don't. We don't condone violence of the political type. Either way, in a world that is as interconnected as ours, and this is what I mean. I don't mean this in like an end of history kind of way. I mean this in like a very positive way. It is just really difficult to get people to endorse the kind of insane hysterical hyper-nationalism that they used to, you know? I mean, back like 300 years ago, you had like, I don't know, there were like 1,800 effective micronations within what is now considered Germany. And I bet you that every single one of them had people that thought every single other one of them was the devil incarnate, you know? You've got people today in the Balkans, you know, two poor post-Soviet countries living in the same dilapidated concrete apartment blocks, and they all believe, like, you know, the guy down the road who is identical to them in every way is like ethnically, morally, spiritually, scientifically inferior in every conceivable way, you know? But nowadays, it's just really difficult to get on board with these kind of divisions, especially with the amount of cross-cultural exchange, right? I think one of the reasons why it's happened with the Palestinians is because they just don't have internet access. I mean, not the way we do. I'm sorry, I should say they do have internet access, but they don't have like a cultural reach that extends to the point that it's identifiable and recognizable and loud in the same way that a bunch of other cultures do, you know? I think like this genuinely prevents warfare. Economic interconnectedness along with enough cultural cultural exchange. It's just like, okay, here's what I have to say, okay? Can you imagine people getting ginned up to invade China these days, like 20-somethings? Because I can't. I genuinely cannot. I really genuinely don't. I just can't imagine that. Is it possible? Like maybe if some insane shit happened, sure. I just don't think they would. But it used to be. It was really easy to get people to gun up for war. The English and the French, when World War I happened, not just with like America, we're all the way over here, but with France and Britain, you know, it's like, oh, well, the Germans are at it. What for again? You know, they're different people than us. Let's go. It just used to be a lot easier. Did you forget how much Asian hate there was during COVID? No, and I don't really think it's relevant to what I'm talking about. I'm not saying racism is over. I'm talking about like very divisive hyper-nationalism that like riles up a whole culture. Look, there was a lot of anti-Asian bigotry during COVID. There was not a nationwide hysteria like tantamount to what one would see when building war against another nation. You gotta respect like the differences there, you know? Not saying it's, be like a spread of bigotry or a resurgence of bigotry is not the same as like, I literally, like, I will commit the nation to mutually destructive warfare. Basically, what I'm saying is that I don't think this Red Book thing is going to go very far, but I do think it's kind of charming, and I'm glad that especially younger people in our country just don't really have... There are a lot of cultural biases that we have against being, ginned up for that kind of hatred and mutual conflict. Red Scare doesn't exist anymore. Not to the same extent. Doesn't it just sound so boomer when the Republicans are like the Chinese Communist Party? You know what I mean? It just sounds like it's out of the 50s. I never hear that rhetoric repeated from like regular conservatives. I don't. I see it from their influencers and politicians. I don't really see it from like regular conservatives, Just regular people. They want to revive the 50s. Yeah, but it doesn't seem to be taking. I mean, think of how much widespread bigotry we've normalized and promoted against Muslims since 9/11. The military still saw massive decreases in its recruitment throughout this time. Like, support for American engagement in the Middle East has plummeted enormously bipartisanly, like on both sides. That's a lot of words, the Radical Dino. Sorry? No, you're not. You knew they were a lot of words. That's why you had it copy-pasted. You have to read every word or you're xenophobic. Yeah, I suppose that's true. Young people are already like willing servants of the Chinese Communist Party. Okay, it's fine. Wouldn't tankies still be opponents of MAGA? Not really, no. Not the kind of tankies that, tankies aren't even a thing anymore. The only reason tankies existed was because it was like a novel way of supporting fascism and like grooming people on the fringes of the left into that position. Nowadays, there's just no point because the easiest way to be supportive of like Russian apologia, third worldist fascism is to just be a supporter of President Trump. Because they do it anyway. Like, the Republican Party is out there saying, well, actually, Ukraine deserved its invasion because NATO expansionism led to Russia defending itself in Ukraine and so on and so forth. Like, all the tanky Kremlin talking points that were novel before are now mainstreamed into the right wing. There's no point in being a tanky. Don't you think Americans would gun up for war with Mexico? Absolutely not. 0% chance. No. Absolutely not. That'd be insane. Literally, no. Absolutely not. All of the Trump hatred stirring, still no. They would on the side of Mexico. Joining the war on Mexico on the side of Mexico. Yeah. Would they do it anyway, though? I can't see the future. I'm just saying that I don't think there'd be a sufficient public push for it. The war would be framed as being against the cartels. I just don't think it would sell.